Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Miami Comedy Podcast. I'm your host, Manny Garavito, and I just celebrated a birthday. My 39th birthday to be exact, this past week. I just recovered, and now it's time to record another episode, and today we're going to be talking about what it's like clubbing in your 40s. So whenever you go out clubbing in your 40s, it's a little obvious that you're at that age range. I mean, let's be honest, like when you go out, you're out to socialize, and people socialize for different reasons, and maybe one of the major ones is meeting other people, and you know what you're getting into when you're in your 40s. If you go out clubbing, you know you're going to meet somebody most likely not of your age range. So you got to make the cautious decision to say to yourself, I'm in my 40s, I'm going out, and I'm most likely going to meet somebody that's younger than me. That's the burden you have to carry. And gender plays a big role when you go out clubbing in your 40s. Because if you're a man and you're in your 40s, you're already in the sugar daddy role. When you're a woman in your 40s, you're already in the cougar role. So you got to know where you stand once you reach this age range. Because the 40s is when you make a conscious decision. Will I continue clubbing, or is this no longer for me? And if you decide to continue clubbing, there is a stigma involved, and you need to know it. Bars is an any age, well, over 21, all the way down to 100 years old. You can walk into a bar in a wheelchair, or your caretaker pushing you, and it'll be socially acceptable. But if you go to a nightclub past your 40s, people know why you're there. So that's why it's a little taboo. Look, let's face it, man. Everyone should stop lying to themselves and know that when you go out clubbing, it's to find somebody to all right? Straight up. You want to come across somebody that's worthy of being flirted on or flirting with or getting hit on or exchanging social medias to see what happens, or maybe even a one-night stand. Because when you're out there clubbing, the music is loud and there's lots of alcohol being spilled for a reason. It's because people are out to make mistakes. If anyone says different, they're lying, okay? It's because of the thrill and the excitement of that dynamic. When you go to a bar, that's real socializing. When you go to a bar, conversations are being had. You're talking to people. You might get approached, sure, but it's not the primary thing. You know why the music is loud at nightclubs? Because no one is talking. It's one big vibe all across the room. And people are just drinking and doing lines at the bathrooms. And it's one vibe. And so the vibe makes you decide who's good. Have you ever gotten hit on when the music's loud? It doesn't really work. Hey, what's your name? Hey, you want to dance? It's single communication thing. You can't have a full-fledged conversation at a nightclub because that's not the right place to do a conversation. A nightclub is to dance, feel it out, and if you feel it, you know what? If you're in your 40s and you still want to go clubbing, don't skip out on leg day because there's nowhere to sit. Maybe you can lean on the bar if you can find a space. Maybe the bartender won't pay a lot of attention to you because they see that you're an older person and you're probably not going to rack up the bar tab with shots. It's going to be very difficult for you to find a comfortable spot. And then your legs start getting sore. There's no way that you'll be able to sit down anywhere. There's no comfortable spaces, so your legs need to be very strong. And what happens, like, if you want to start, grinding on somebody, you want to start a little perreando, right? You need to have strong calves for that, because sometimes, dancing, grinding on somebody can get a little aggressive. They could really throw it on you. What happens if a BBL gets thrown on you? How are you going to handle it if your legs are weak? You need to go hard. Make sure you do a couple extra squats. You do the calf raises. Do all that stuff, because you don't want your legs buckling on the dance floor. You're just falling back. Somebody thinks some geriatric person is trying to get on the dance floor and doesn't have the moves anymore. That's probably going to be the most important muscle that can't be weak. How are you going to get low if you haven't done a squat in years? And when I say arch support, try to find like a really good sole to put on your shoes, because you can't be wearing like orthopedic shoes to the club. That's not going to happen. So when you're in your 40s, you got to consider your tolerance for drinks. A hangover, it will eventually catch up to you where it's no longer something that you got to deal with the next morning. It's something you got to deal with for the remainder of the week. And I'm assuming if you're in your 40s, you've already got some sort of responsibility going on for you. You got to wake up early for that career. You got some sort of meeting to go to. You got to do whatever it is you got to do, because the 40s and the morning, they go hand in hand. Morning times is a very 40s thing to do. All right? Staying in and not going to work or calling in sick is something you do in your 20s, but not in your 40s. And all the other 40-year-old chismosa co-workers, they're going to know you're fucked up at work. and they're going to tell your boss, or they're going to be slick at the mouth and tell you some, ¿Cómo le pasaste la noche anterior? How was your night last night? Did you have a lot of fun? What did you do? You got to know your levels. You got to know, can you take the extra shot? Especially if you're hanging out with younger people at the nightclub. They're lining up shots multiple times in the night. I don't even think you should go past one shot. You might have to consult your doctor to see if you can go clubbing after all. Hey, doc, this weekend I'm planning on going to the club to celebrate my coworker's birthday. How many drinks can I take? Well, it's like, you're on diabetic medication. You can't drink anything. Oh, thank God I asked. And if you pull an all-nighter in your 40s, you might as well go hard and celebrate by going to some sort of early bird food special at your favorite brunch spot. Consider the fact that retirement is your number one priority in your 40s. You really got to think about what it's going to be like when you decide to no longer want to worry about finances. And I believe 59 and a half is the age where you actually retire. So in your 40s, you've got 19 years or less to retire. So you got to ask yourself, is buying the bottle worth it? Will they even let you into a VIP section at your age? Is the $150 cover worth it? I want you to open up your retirement app and I want you to look at your Roth IRA and consider, is this really for me? And if that's say you do meet somebody special at the club, most likely they're going to like you for your finances. Okay, that's something you got to be careful for. And you live in Miami. We're a city that loves money. We're a city that status is all about the money. And if you're in your 40s, if anyone does talk to you or finds you somewhat attractive, I'm sure finances are going to be involved. And who knows, you might fall in love with this person so much so that you cash out your 401k and you give it to somebody that you met at the club. At your 40s, you're already at the age where marriage is going to be happening sometime soon. At least you hope. And what happens if you meet somebody at the club? How are you going to explain to your kids, Daddy, how did you meet Mommy? Well, I was at a nightclub, VIP, and I saw your mother walking in, and I knew it was love at first sight because I was on that Molly. All right, that is it for the Miami Comedy Podcast. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. What's it like clubbing in your 40s? Share some tips. I'll see you guys on the next episode.